Okay, so when we last left off, I was talking about some of the books you'll be reading this semester. So there's five, as I briefly went over. And let me tell you now what you're going to be doing with each of these books. You're going to be writing a critical review of each. And what I mean by a critical review is a discussion of each book in a written form in a very sophisticated manner. So you're going to be writing 1 to 2 pages, single spaced, and 12-point font, standard kind of font. And each review is going to take a look at each of these works in the context of this course. So what I'm not looking for is your review saying things like, oh, I liked it, or it was a fun read, or, very enjoyable. That kind of review is not what we're discussing here. A critical review is something you might see in a magazine, for example, the New York Times book of reviews, or if you look at the Wall Street Journal, a book review, or maybe a magazine like The Atlantic or Harper's. If you haven't read a review like this, most of these are widely available at bookstores, so you can take a look, or read, or even go online and read some of these. And when you write a critical review, you are not giving necessarily a book report, a summary about what happened in the story or stories or memoir or whatever. You'll begin each review with a discussion of the background of maybe this book, or what it's about, the general discussion of the book, and then you'll approach it as in a way to kind of discuss the themes of the work, if it's fictional, or the purpose of the work, if it's maybe, for example, pure history, and then discussing the value and limitations of this piece in the context of such a course as what we're studying. So, for example, in the first work you can be dealing with is by this, work by Tuglas, which is a series of short stories. So you need to kind of discuss the time and era when these short stories were written, and what might have been his purpose, or might have been some of the themes that seem to appear, and the kind of a discussion of the insight this work gives you in this time period, in this geographical area, in this region, for example. And it's a very creative discussion of each of these works. There's no standard answer that I'm looking for. I'm looking for your insight into this work. Now, for those who aren't history majors, haven't done something like this, you want to give a criticism, okay? And the criticism is not something like I liked it or didn't like it. It's a discussion of what might be the limitations of such a piece, what it does help you with, and what it doesn't help necessarily. As a historian, as a social scientist, as a general reader trying to find out information about maybe again this region possibly. So, 4 words that might help you in this process are origin, purpose, value, and limitations. When you talk about the origin of the work, you want to introduce the author, you want to introduce the title of the book, you want to introduce the general, style of the book and what it was about, and then get to some kind of thesis as to your point of views dealing with this book, or the themes, or and such. So that's origin. You want to kind of have a paragraph that gives us some background to what you just read and what it was about and who it was written by, when it was written, all those who, what, when, where, why kind of words. You then, in the thesis, want to probably be discussing this word purpose, and you don't have to use the word purpose, depends on how you want to approach it, but keep it in mind. So what was the author trying to achieve? Why did they write this work, or series of works? What's going on here? What was the author's aims? And this is probably the crux of really what you're going to be discussing, how well they achieved those aims or not. The next part is the value. And this is what you might see as the positive contributions of this work, either to literature or to social science or history or the humanities in general. These are all classic texts, and they're classic for a reason, and why would that be? And then again, there's limitations. Maybe there's parts of the work that the author was unsuccessful in their aims or trying to achieve, or there was limitations in terms of the style they chose, or maybe the information that was given, and if you know enough information, possibly you might criticize even particular aspects of the work. So if you want to talk about, for example, the Kate Brown book, you could easily discuss these 4 words. You can talk about who Kate Brown is, and what was this book about. You can talk about her purpose, which is probably in the introduction or preface of this book. She'll say exactly what she was trying to achieve. You might then talk about what was valuable contributions to the knowledge of this region or to these people. What did she discuss that maybe other people haven't discussed, or what you found fascinating or interesting about her discussions. And then maybe there's some limitations, things that could have been more thorough, or didn't achieve what you think what was really truly expected. So that's kind of what you're going to be doing in these. Each of these would basically due at the end of each week. So our first one is due July 7th, so not this Monday, but the following Monday. So it's going to be rather quick. So if you haven't started reading yet, you need to read the 2 gloss work and get ready to write your paper. And if you have trouble, send me an email, and I'll be glad to take a look at maybe some of your ideas or your general outline of what you're doing. And like I said, I'm here to be interactive with you, and I want to help you in any way I can and help you do well on this. And the first one, it might be a little bit difficult if you haven't reviewed a series of short stories before, but we'll get through it together, and I think you'll be very successful at it. That's the one part of the course, and each of the reviews are worth 10 points apiece. The second part of the course is that there's a discussion board, and if you look in your eCampus page that you might have pulled up to get these lectures, on the top it says discussion post or something similar to this case. And when you click on it, you'll see there's going to be a series of discussions each week. I will give you the discussion topic, either in the lectures or an email, and then you have to write, generally I'm looking for a paragraph or 2 about whatever question I asked, and I'm looking for a response here, and I want you to be interactive with the other students. So someone writes a post, you write something that maybe that discusses the previous post, or discuss something I discussed, and I want to see the students interact with each other. Again, I'm looking for at least a minimum of a paragraph. What's a paragraph? Probably a good 4 or 5 sentences, not lines, but sentences, real sentences. And I'm looking for your thoughts and insights to this course and what we're discussing and reading and all these things, and hopefully you're responding to other students as well. And you can write more, of course, but I'm looking for at least a paragraph. Each post is worth 5 points apiece. I'll be grading the post, and generally if you gave it a good shot and you gave a good discussion, you can get the 5 points. I'm not going to try and slam anybody on the discussion post. And you have to do 5 in the next semester. And if you look on the calendar in the eCampus page, it's going to tell you when all these things are due. And if you also look in the syllabus, I've given you the due dates as well. The first discussion post is going to be due, and it's actually our first assignment in many ways, is going to be July 2nd. And I'll give you the post topic either in these lectures or again in the email, and you'll have 24 hours to respond to that post. So it'll start in the beginning of the day, July 2nd. You'll have some time during that day whenever you feel comfortable, and you'll write something. And I think you're going to find that it's pretty easy to do. And if you have trouble with this, again, email me, and we'll work our way through the problems you might have. The other part of, and that's 5 points apiece, that's 25. The reviews total 50, the posts are 25, and the last 25 points comes from the final exam question, and that's going to be in the last week of the course. You can look in the syllabus for the date of that. I'll give you the topic question, and you'll have 24 hours to email me your essay response. And if you look in the syllabus, it gives you all those details that I just discussed here, and I think you're going to find that the course is going to run very smoothly, and it's going to be quite easy. that's the end of this section, and then the next part will be about what we need to do in the course in terms of discussing this general topic.